form of Monrovia's traffic often feels like a prank that never ends. A cacophony of horns for a soundtrack while engines roast in the sun, and your meeting slips away, minute by frustrating minute. But look up on Tubman Boulevard, and you'll see two giant concrete ribbons taking shape. A gift from China that promises to flip the script. This isn't just another construction project. It's a potential turning point for a city bled dry by gridlock. That congestion costs Liberia about $50 million a year in lost time, spoiled goods, and frayed nerves. Ambulances sit idle. Fresh produce turns to waste, and nobody wins. Then came a phone call, a grant, not alone, for $36.7 million, and a team of China's road-building veterans. The result is two 4-lane flyovers designed to eat congestion for breakfast. And by late 2027, the city might finally hit cruise control. The daily struggle is a familiar story for anyone in Monrovia. Imagine leaving red light at 6:30 a.m. praying you'll make an 8 o'clock meeting downtown, only to inch past an endless line of KKs, trucks, and a perpetual diesel cloud. The World Bank estimates the average driver loses 93 hours every year to traffic. 2 full work weeks. Gone. This reality forces businesses to jack up prices and parents to cut bedtime stories short. Something had to give. The answer arrived in the form of the Sky Solutions. China is footing the entire bill for every bolt, beam, and work hour, with the project executed by the China Road and Bridge Corporation, CRBC, the same crew behind Kenya's famously fast Nairobi-Mombasa Railway. One flyover will serve the ministerial complex, while the other will straddle the SKD and Tubman Boulevard intersection. At 6 meters high and 4 lanes wide, they are designed to let 3,000 cars an hour slip through like sand. Beams are precast in Congo Town and craned into place like life-size Lego. A blockbuster rewrite of Monrovia's daily script. That $36.7 million price tag sounds unreal, yet it is a grant, not a balance sheet boomerang. There are no interest rates, no 15-year repayment headaches, and no fine print traps, at least according to finance lawyers. 90% of the funds go directly to construction, while the rest covers design, supervision, and the complex task of moving water pipes that have laid dormant since the 70s. For perspective, Liberia's entire road maintenance budget last year was $28 million. This single handshake beat that figure by a third. The builder, CRBC, has a passport full of African stamps, from the Addis-Djibouti Railway to the Zambezi Bridge. In Monrovia, they've brought in massive mobile cranes, enough rebar to stretch to Buchanan, and a lab that stress tests concrete to the nearest megapascal. The project broke ground in September 2025 with a ruthless 24-month clock. As elections have little patience for late ribbon cuttings, the timeline involves shuffling utilities, punching columns skyward, and then flying beams into place before the final asphalt pour. Commuters will face the short-term pain of temporary lanes, but simulations show that even with the mess, traffic flow should improve as one lane will remain open throughout. However, grand plans attract gremlins. A week of solid rain could turn excavations into swimming pools. A snapped cable could stall work for months, and soaring diesel prices could evaporate contingency funds. The most significant risk is long-term upkeep. Past donor-funded roads have crumbled in 5 years for lack of care. Officials swear a fuel tax road fund has already earmarked cash for these flyovers, but citizens will be watching closely. Beyond the concrete, the ripple effects are immense. Ask a tomato seller at rally time what an overpass means, and you'll hear about more than just faster trucks. It means fresher produce, lower prices, and ambulances having the dash to Redemption Hospital. A 6% cut in maternal mortality risk, according to Health Ministry calculations. Bus companies expect to save enough on diesel to add extra round trips, coaxing commuters off risky motorbikes. The project is also a lifeline for people like Amara, a 23-year-old with a history degree who had 0 job offers last year. Today, she ties rebar on Pier 9, earning double the pay of a supermarket job and sending her sister to a private school that once seemed like a fantasy. Her mentor, a Ministry of Works veteran, notes that the Chinese foremen enforce safety standards, boots, gloves, harnesses, more strictly than any European crew he's seen. When the dust settles, CRBC will certify 100 local welders to global standards, skills that will remain long after the cranes are gone. Of course, this raises the elephant-sized question about motives. Why does China hand out bridges? While some may hiss debt trap, this project is a grant, not an IOU. Leverage is part of the game. Both nations' flags will flutter at the ribbon cutting. But Liberia isn't choosing sides, so much as it's choosing tools. The US rebuilt the port, and the EU paved Somalia Drive. In this exchange, Beijing gets glossy footage for state media, a living advertisement for its Belt and Road Initiative. Monrovia gets crossings it could never bankroll on its own. Zoom out, and you see this pattern across the continent. Kenya's SGR, Ethiopia's light rail, Nigeria's Lekki port. Critics see commodity-backed debt, while optimists see a continent finally sprinting across its infrastructure gap. Liberia's grant-financed flyovers are small on the debt radar, but huge in symbolism. Even if you'll never visit, this project matters. Global supply chains are only as strong as their weakest link. Liberia ships rubber, iron ore, and soon offshore oil. Every minute trucks idle in Monrovia adds cost to sneakers in Ohio and electronics in Munich. Smoother flow means less idling, lower CO2, and a template for other congested cities. Frontier market investors watch projects like this for proof that logistical headaches can be solved and that contracts are honored. Back on Tubman Boulevard, cranes scratch a red sunset sky as concrete hardens and welders fling sparks. In months, the jackhammers will go quiet, and that first smooth glide over fresh asphalt will feel like a city-sized exhale. If the drains stay clear and load limits are enforced, Monrovia's skyline of standstill could become a skyline of what's next. From standstill to glide. From $36.7 million to zero debt. The story's ink is still wet on the concrete. Is this a genuine turning point or just a shiny ribbon destined to fray? Will the city bloom or will politics and potholes strangle the miracle? Time and traffic will tell. Now we turn it over to you. Drop your take in the comments below. The best argument gets pinned. And if you enjoyed watching Concrete and Cash redraw a capital, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next deep dive into the infrastructure rewiring our world, one beam at a time.